Hi guys, I'm Dan Hoff, COO of Honeystick, and today I'm really excited to announce the launch of our new kit, the Sub Ohm Sport Mod Starter Kit, as well as replacement tank, which the tank is sold separately. These will be available on our website by the end of today for purchase. And this video is going to walk you through a lot of what went into our Sub Ohm Sport, a little bit about Sub Ohm vaping, and how it stacks up with our Sub Ohm unit that we have been offering our original award-winning cannabis cup kit. So let's jump right into it. Here is the box of our Sub Ohm starter kit that each one of your kits will be delivered with. Right now, the color that we launched with is not the actual black that is on the box, which we should be launching very soon, but we actually launched it in a silver with a carbon fiber trim. It is kind of a brushed aluminum that is a very high glossy texture, and I'll actually get a nice little close-up of it. As you can see, you have the Honeystick insignia nicely etched in there with our traditional hexagons that you can find also on the original Sub Ohm. And within the tank, it is a different tank from the original Sub Ohm, but we're going to get into that. You can see that you have the Honeystick etched in there. So let's jump right into the kit. Contents of the kit are, you have your USB charger, you have a spare heater, you have your Sub Ohm Sport tank, and your battery. So technicals. This battery is a 510 thread battery. It has a leather carbon fiber trim grip on the sides here, and it has the brushed aluminum. It is a 510 thread. It is 2,000 milliamp hours, and it has a maximum operating wattage of 60 watts. This battery does have temperature control functions, so it is a little bit more advanced. And it also has some really cool built-in safety features, like overheat protection. If you guys are running the vapes really, really hot, running them really hard, when it does get to the point where it's going to heat up to possibly damage your unit, the unit will automatically start powering itself down. It also has a standard 10-second timeout. You have temperature control adjustment options for other Honeystick tanks or attachments that you might get. And it also has power adjustability. So here's the tank, which we're going to do a separate video that goes really a little bit more into detail about the tank on the Sub Ohm Sport, which is a 510 thread that will work with most mod batteries. So you can see here's the LED screen right there. So our battery functionality, let's run through that first. Fire button is located right here. It's just a simple push, and if you push it and the battery is off, you can see it is shown with a system off sign. So this means that the battery is locked, and if you push it, it is not going to fire. Now, most vapor batteries on the market are a standard 5-click unlock feature to turn the unit on. The same with this one. So we're just going to click it 5 times rapidly and repeatedly. Yep, and there it goes. First prompt after the welcome screen is it's going to ask you if you have a new coil or not, to push plus or minus. If this is your first time using the Sub Ohm tank, you are going to want to push the plus sign, which says that it is a new coil. Now, what it does then is, instead of giving it the full powers that you want, the unit is automatically programmed to help you with a break-in for the coil. So it's not gonna bring the power on hard, or it's not gonna come on very all at once. It's gonna disperse the power until your coil gets broken in. And then if your coil already is broken in, then you will select the minus sign and it will be an old coil. So that just goes into the battery functionality. So since this is a new coil, we hit the plus sign. As you can see, there's all of our display functions. It has the what the temperature would be, the voltage, it has a timer, and it shows you in very big letters how much wattage you have. So before we get into the details of the unit, a lot of you guys I'm sure are asking is, you know, we have our standard Sub Ohm unit and we have our new one. What are some of the differences and why are you guys really getting into doing this? This unit is not meant to compete with the Sub Ohm Classic unit, which is our cannabis cup unit. And there are some significant differences. It is meant to be an entry way for you to get into high-end Sub Ohm vaping, which we will have a detailed video of the benefits of Sub Ohm oil vaping that will be available here in the next couple weeks. It is a way for you to be able to get into Sub Ohm vaping, to take it more on the go as a sporty unit, and for you to experience it. This tank does not have the blender function that our Sub Ohm tank has, which you can see on the website. We have a separate, very detailed video about this original tank. This tank does not have the blender feature, but it is meant to be a little bit more user-friendly, and transportable with the way that the coil is set up and the way that we made it so that the power comes on, and also how it uses up the oil. So some of the more novice users who got into this kit, we did a good job of really taking whatever they have said that they would like to see in more of an entry-level Sub Ohm unit, and we incorporate into this one. Not to say that this one is not on par with our other unit in terms of just max power output, vapor production, but there are some features that our original one has that you're not going to find in this one, and we're just going to make that, just state that here right off the bat. But it's an awesome, awesome way to get into Sub Ohm vaping. So let's jump into the technicals here. So one thing that we did with this kit is, some people who would carry around our original one, they would be worried about the glass, about carrying it around, and also about it being exposed so people see what you're vaping. So being the sport model unit and being on the go, what we did was we wanted to make a primarily metal tank with a small cutout glass opening that is actually indented. So if you drop it or something, more than likely, whatever it falls against will not make direct contact with the glass. The glass is more protected. It is more sealed as well as concealable. So, you know, to a casual observer, they might not be able to look into the details to see what you are medicating. And again, we incorporate a lot of the things of top airflow control design to make sure it's leak proof. So once this tank is filled, you have adjustable airflow control here at the top that you can just swivel around with your fingers. And if you are transporting it or it is not in use, make sure to close your airflow. Otherwise, if you have your airflow open and you have it filled and you leave your kit on its side, that's the only way that oil can get out of your tank. So we designed this leak proof. Just make sure that if you're transporting, you have your airflow control closed. So there are some differences. We put a smaller mouthpiece on here, and we did make this top piece so that you can replace it if you have a specific mouthpiece type that you like, or you don't want to go wide bore. It is actually the common market size that just simply pulls out. So for example, here's a mouthpiece from our ozone tank. And just give it a good push, it just pops into place. So you can pick them up at any vape stores. I'm sure we'll have a couple online as well. Or use one of your other HoneyStick hybrid or ozone mouthpieces. So let's jump into how you would be filling your unit. So the way this tank comes apart is a little bit different from the original. Make sure first of all that your battery is turned off. So you click it 5 times, system's off, then you just put it down, and you hold the tank firmly and you twist counterclockwise, nice and slowly. There is a top gasket so you do not want to damage it, or if you've had it filled before, you'll see it just kind of twists right out. The coil to this tank is attached to the top mouthpiece. It is different from our original Sub Ohm coil. As you can see, we have the inlet holes on the bottom there, so it's actually a much easier tank to prime if you're not an experienced vapor. Because when you fill the tank, you simply put the coil in, and it pushes the oil up in through the inlet holes to already prime the tank, which means that once you've put the coil into the tank, you only have to wait 3 to 4 minutes of it just sitting there to prime it. You don't have to use any additional priming liquid, which is why we don't have any priming fluids with this tank. Filling the tank, you would simply just put your oils or CBDs down into the chamber. There's a line right here that you should not fill past, because then once you put the coil back into the unit, it will push the oil level up to have it completely full. So you want to make sure when you're filling it, especially for the first time, make sure that you are below the fill level line. So once you've filled the tank, you would very slowly and gently twist. Now going clockwise is to put the coil back in and slowly get it to be a good hand tight. You'll feel it thread together. And then the tank is reassembled. In the event that you need to switch your coil, it's the same procedure of removal. You remove the top piece, and then simply the coil unscrews. You screw the coil itself counterclockwise. It detaches, and we sell them on our website by the 5-packs. You get them in these little 5-packs. You just pop them right out, and you screw the new one right back on in place. Now, we're going to have a detailed video that discusses the tank, its features, some ideal uses for it, that will really get into the details of what we did with the coil itself. And we kind of want to focus on the kit for this video. So you put it back together. So let's talk about the battery functionality. As I mentioned before, you go 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. You get the new coil. We have our new coil. We hit the plus sign. We're right there at the welcome screen. The operating ranges for this tank, you can run this tank at the full 60 watts if you want to. That's how we designed it. However, we've really noticed that the ideal uses for this tank, especially when you're starting off, is 8 to 15 watts. And it has that spot where you have very good flavor maintenance, and it also is going to give you so much more power than standard tanks. The Sub Ohm capabilities here are really going to intensify flavors and give you the kind of hits that stick batteries and even a lot of concealers, it's going to be very hard to compete with. And especially if you're feeling very adventurous, you can take this tank into the higher watt ranges, you know, the 30 watts, but that we're talking very big hits. So this tank is not to be used with concentrates like waxes, semi-solids, or any type of crumbles. So we recommend that anything that can come out of a syringe, even if the syringe itself has to be heated, is good for this unit. So this battery is very high capacity. It's 2000 mAh. Just to put that into perspective, it's a little less than 10 times the battery capacity of a standard stylus battery. So you're going to charge this puppy up one time, which I always tell you guys, when you first get your unit, make sure that it's fully charged. You charge up, you're going to get a lot of use out of this thing. We're talking a few days, even if you're a heavy vapor, a few days in between charges on this unit. So to toggle through your wattage, you just go plus and minus. Now, if you bought this kit and plan on buying any other Honeystick attachments or have other previous vape devices that could be different coils or coil material, you have a different temperature mode on this battery. So what you do to access that mode is you would simply hold the plus and the minus sign down together. And you see it has the options PO, SS, TI, or NI. So the PO, we call that power optimization mode, which is the mode that your battery comes in out of the box when you turn it on, which allows you to just adjust your wattage. So it's basically a manual adjusting of your wattage as a form of power. When you get to the NI, NI is short for nickel, which means if you're using adapters that have nickel in them, you select the NI and it allows you to temperature control to dial into the ideal temperature in forms of degrees Celsius. The same thing with TI, which is titanium. And then you have the SS, which is stainless steel coil. So when you put a different adapter on here and you know what the composition of your coil is, you can select between these modes to really dial in your usage. And all you do is you go on to whatever it is you're selecting, and then you push the power button. I just selected titanium, even though this is not a titanium coil. And you see now it's in the temperature mode. So it shows 230 degrees C. I can adjust it. Now I'm at 110. And it also gives you in the bottom part of the screen your corresponding wattage. So you still know, what kind of output it is using to put out that degree temperature. I apologize. This was degrees Fahrenheit. Degrees Celsius was another screen. I didn't notice the little F there. So this is a pretty smart mod to really allow you to get into different attachments and adapters. Right now, I'm just going to set it back into the power optimization mode, which is what we use as a standard. And that is really what we recommend when utilizing our tank. So the battery also has some other features on it that I would like you guys to be aware of when using this kit. So when the battery life, which is indicated with the battery screen right there, starts running low, in order to stretch out the useful life of the mod, you can notice that the battery power will drop down automatically. It's a mode that we put in there that if you cannot get to a charger, it's going to drop some of the power down to extend at least the duration of your vaping. And it also has the standard 10-second timeout. So if you're pulling on it for 10 seconds, it's only going to allow this button to be pushed for 10 seconds, which is pretty standard, and then you would have to let go of the button and push it again. So any type of troubleshooting on this device, normally it can just only, if you bought this kit and it's not performing properly like it was when it was right out of the box, or it's giving you any problems, it's really can be narrowed down to two things, which is a connection problem and the coil. So if the battery is fully charged, because a lot of times the first area of troubleshooting is just having a low battery. So if your battery is charged up properly, the next step could be a connection problem. There's two places where you could have a connection. Where the tank connects with the battery. Now again, it's a standard 510 thread. You need to make sure that the battery connects down into the spring pin. If that spring pin, if there's some kind of oils or residues on there and it's stuck to the bottom, it might not connect with the positive pole of the battery. So it's not going to send any electrical current to your battery, which could be readed onto your screen by check atomizer or short atomizer. So if you are not having a connection or it's not vaping, first place, check that connection. Next place to check your connection is your actual coil. Now, your coil has two electrical connections. First electrical connection is that it's screwed in nice and firmly here. You don't need to over tighten it, just make sure it's a good hand tight. If it's not screwed in all the way to the top, it's not making an electrical connection and the unit's not going to fire or it's not going to read the coil. Second place it makes a connection is with the positive pole of the tank, that little bottom piece. That little bottom piece has to be touching the little bottom connector of the tank. Otherwise, it is not going to know that there's a coil in there, and the unit is not going to fire. So if you don't have it screwed in properly, or there's something obstructing that connection outside of the actual oils itself, then you are not going to have a connection. You could have a read. So if you've done all these steps and still saying short atomizer, or your unit is not vaping or heating up or performing properly, the next thing that you have to do is it's time for you to get a new coil. And a lot of people with the Sub Ohm kits and other units that we've had have asked the questions of, you know, it is normal to replace your coils, and how long does it go? Well, it's really based on usage, but you need to replace your coils as soon as you see the performance starting to drop off. You could start noticing a little burnt taste, or you're not getting the same intricacies out of your vapor. And that all applies to this unit as well. So it is normal to switch coils. I say a lot of people get a few weeks out of a coil. We've heard stories of people who are very light vapors that get a couple months out of a coil, but it's always good to have an extra 5-pack on hand in case that happens. So guys, we're very excited about the Sub Ohm Sport Tank. It is a kit that you can more take on the go. It's a little bit more durable in the sense that you don't have to worry about the glass breaking, or it's a little bit more concealed. It is very user friendly. It is a hair lighter. So if you're looking to get into Sub Ohm vaping and our other cool products, check us out on www.vapehoneystick.com. Use my special promo code HONEY420. Like us on YouTube and on Instagram. On Instagram, we're official Vape Honeystick to see our new product launches and for other special discounts and promotions. Subscribe to our channel, comment to us, get in touch with us what you think of this kit and our other products, what you want to see more of. Really look forward to getting your feedback, and very excited about this kit. Thanks guys, and vape responsibly.